Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. I wasn't going to make a video today, but I ran across a couple of videos that I wanted to put up from digital asset investors that I thought was quite intriguing. This one where they're talking about Chairman Gensler and how they viewed him before he came into his chair at the SEC and how he's kind of operating now and kind of did a complete 180 in regards of not investor protection and kind of hurting innovation within the United States. And then this one they're talking about Mike Novogratz and his tattoo and the devastation with the Luna community and what's happened with UST and how it's affected the markets. And now they're talking about his tattoo coming full circle and it's kind of like being the laughing stock. And then there's also some stuff that's going on about Wall Street Journal saying there's a crypto problem with insider trading, and we know that that's a real thing. You have manipulation, you have whales that can manipulate the markets, but then also just like in regular markets, there's been a lot of conversation about members of Congress or government officials that have inside information that invest and pretty much decimate the spy. It says members of Congress that beat the spy in 2021. So insider trading is a real thing. And there's also a great tweet here from the real, I think it's Robert Kiyosaki, that I thought was quite interesting. And I just wanted to touch on a few more things within the space. But coming over here to CoinGecko, we're currently sitting at a $1.32 trillion market cap, currently up 2.4% for the day. And if we come down here, Bitcoin sitting at 29,539, currently up 2.3%. Ethereum sitting at 1980, and then XRP sitting at 41 cents. 24-hour gainers, let's see what we got. We got Phantom sitting at 37.8%. Tezos is at 9.2, Sandbox 8.4, and so on. Coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear Greed Index, we're still at this 13. We're going to have an update here in 6 hours and 26 minutes. So obviously there's still a lot of market uncertainty in regards of, a lot of different things, geopolitical stuff, a lot of negative stuff that's been hitting, our market in particular with, the Luna Foundation and Luna going down and UST being depegged and just the devastation within that market and just a lot of other narratives that's been pushed around. And then you have, inflation and stuff and Jerome Powell and the Fed and, them combating inflation with interest rate hikes and just the fears of a lot of different things that can happen with that outcome. So there's a lot of market uncertainty, not just in the crypto market, but then, within other markets as well. Starting with this one here, this is from Digital Asset Investor. He says, Tim Draper on Capitalism School. Gary Gensler is for JP Morgan capitalism, not capitalism for the rest of us. It's not in Gary's interest for the whole country, or excuse me, the whole economy to grow. So this is this Security Token Summit, and this is a great little interview here that we're going to listen to.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with this because I got to know him. We were on a panel together, and we were actually in front of a bunch of people from the Fed. And we were on a panel together before he got the job. And he was delightful and had a great sense, and he taught cryptocurrency at MIT. And I thought, hey, perfect choice.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, he took this job, and all of a sudden, he's like back in 1940s, and he's working with regulations that were created 80 years ago and trying to apply them to whoever he can. And he's going after, some startup comes up with something in a sandbox, and all of a sudden the SEC's on them. That's not going to encourage innovation. And I think he really needs to figure out how to strike the right balance or even back off.
How do you counter him looking at you and saying, Tim, you can't guarantee a return on an asset that is speculative?
Yeah, I mean, whatever happened to caveat emptor? I sort of feel like, hey, people are smart. You don't have to protect everybody from themselves. Let them take a chance. Boy, you let them go ahead and play the lotto, and that's that's a expected value less than one. So it's like you end up losing by playing the lotto. Why wouldn't you let people speculate on new currencies, new entrepreneurs, new innovations? I mean, if you allow that speculation, the whole economy grows, and it becomes dynamic and exciting, and we all benefit from it. And if you slap it down, you start looking like North Korea. Yeah.
So, and I've talked a lot about that on this channel, and just to kind of touch on the points, I thought that was probably the most powerful thing that he said within this particular video here. He says, people are smart. Like, quite honestly, yeah. Like, you're so-called set out to protect investors, but like you're not protecting us, first of all. But it's like you're pretty much calling us dumb, and we can't handle, we can't handle our money and handle ourselves. But just like he says, we can invest in the lotto, or we can go to a casino and blow our entire life savings and our kids' college tuition in one single night without hesitation. But we can't, speculate in a new and emerging market, and we can't speculate and do our research into, new entrepreneurs or new blockchain technology and new companies that are coming up that have a certain solid plan or a particular use case or utility that are solving real world problems. We can't put our hard money in that without you preventing us from doing it. That's absolutely crazy. And then we've already talked about the whole thing of accredited investors, and you have to have a certain amount of money within over a 2-year period, or like $1 million of assets or something crazy. It's like you have to be accredited investors to invest in startups or investing lucrative opportunities. And most of us out here aren't accredited investors, so we can't make money. So it's a whole conversation of the rich get richer and the poor get poor. That's kind of what it is. And it's like, who are you to tell us what to do with our money? Like, I get it. There's people out there that completely, blows all their money and ruins their lives. But, that's a certain percentage of people. That's not everybody. I know, families like my wife and I mean, we work hard for our money. We pay our taxes, and the little bit of money we have left over after paying our monthly expenses, whether we're not putting it in savings or we want to invest it, like, we want to put it in places that we feel like we can have the greatest return. So who are you to say, where we put our money? You're not protecting us. And that's just the doggone truth. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Moving on here. It's from Stefan Huber. He says, we cannot be grateful enough to the SEC. What this agency demonstrates is a tireless commitment to playing dumb, stalling, delaying, lying, twisting facts, and holding evidence. All of this just to protect little investors like us. That is quite remarkable. I mean, straight up, I feel the same way. Ryan Selkins has a good one here too. He could straight up, he says, Chair Gensler is the enemy of American investors. Chairman Gensler is the enemy of the crypto space. Chairman Gensler is the enemy of American innovation. Chairman Gensler is just the enemy to just adoption and growth in general. It's absolutely crazy. Speaking of down here, this is, if you haven't seen this video, Jack the Rippler put this up. I don't remember, when this would actually happen, but it's quite interesting. It says right here, this is back in 2020. So there's been a lot of conversation about, XRP has no use case, or, no utility. Banks don't need to use XRP to utilize Ripple. And you gotta, if you're one of those people, or you hear somebody out there talking like that, make sure that, you kind of push them toward, the data. Go to Ripple's website and go to, people and influencers and people in the Twitterverse that actually know what's going on in regards to the technology side behind, Ripple, the RippleNet, and XRP's use case and so on. But I highly recommend you go in and listen to this video. It's talking about like Swift, and they're talking about how, so-called Ripple and XRP aren't there to replace Swift. It's there to be integrated with it, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, I think I have there's some good points in here that can kind of give you some food for thought to kind of further push, your research in regards of, Ripple and XRP and RippleNet's, status and how things are and kind of where this future is headed. Coming over here, Digital Asset posted another one that says, if I had not watched Novogratz for years actively bashing XRP without care in the world for XRP holders, I would almost feel sorry for him now. Karma is real, folks. So remember I was talking about, things come full circle. So, you have Mike Novogratz that in the past, what was this, before, this is 2018. So summer 2018, it was like June-ish or whatever, where he was going on talking about, I just don't understand, why XRP is going up, and I was short. Obviously he has some sort of inside information. So when the lawsuit was being dropped on Ripple, knowing XRP was going to be affected, they're talking about, they were short, and there was a group of people that so-called had inside information that were short, which was kind of like, okay. I mean, if anyone had that type of inside information, they knew something bad was going to happen to XRP. Of course, a lot of people would take advantage of shorting it and or accumulating more when, the decimation has happened within that particular asset. But I think this is quite interesting because karma is real and things do come full circle. And it's not to throw shade at, the Luna community and people that's been devastated by UST and what's happened with the depegging of UST. But it's just like, this is a constant reminder of like we are all on the same page. I mean, excuse me, we're all on the same team within the crypto space. It's us against the world. People that are against crypto, we have to stand up as one united force and fight for what's right for this entire space. So this entire space and all the digital assets within the solid projects that are truly genuine out there to solve a real world problem and truly build a community and not be scammy and rug pulling. Like we need to stand together and stand up against everything that's against us. And that's just the whole purpose and point of what I'm trying to make here. But let's take a listen into this.
Around January 4th, Mike Novogratz, of course, he's big in Bitcoin, big in all kinds of tokens, posted on Twitter his arm, and he had this huge new tattoo on it, and he said, "I'm now a lunatic." And it was this moon with the wolf, and I don't know, the wolf looked a little sketchy, like the paws looked like
I'm going to show it to you just in case you haven't seen it. I'm going to show it to you. They're talking about this one right here, so if you can take a look at this. The moon, the wolf, Luna. Again, there's Mike Novogratz. All right, let's come back to this.
He said, "I'm now a lunatic," and he invested in Luna.
So, you know, there are lasers that can take those tattoos off. And I know a guy who can put a new tattoo on there that says Bitcoin, and he can change his ways.
One of the funny things that I saw was I love to look at those things and then look at the comments afterward. And the first comment after he posted that of January 4th of this year was somebody from somebody named @PlateLiquor21. And he wrote, quote,
Or is this one of the Twitter people that,
Yes.
that Elon is talking about that might not be
a
real?
bot. No, this looked like a real guy. He had a little Canadian flag by it. And he wrote, quote, "This will be so embarrassing in like 6 months." He was off by 1 month. Plate liquor. Yeah, but listen, again, I bring
Let's
it full
follow
circle.
that guy, Plate Liquor.
@PlateLiquor_21. I mean, you can't make this up, but he basically was saying this will not age well. Listen, we love Novo. He's really a futuristic thinker, but that's kind of where a lot of people are right now, where they maybe believed in some of this mathematical, algorithmic, you know, hoo-ha. I mean,
Mathematical, with quotes.
So here's the thing. You see how she broke it down and got real right there when she was like, you know, there's truly people out there that were truly believing in what they were throwing. And a lot of those people were small investors, you know, like everyday investors like myself and like, you know, a lot of you out there. And I could see why, you know, Gary Gensler and the like throw out this whole narrative of we're there to protect investors. We're there for this. We're there for that. It's because stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of rug pulls. There's a lot of shady stuff that happens within the crypto space. I've been a part of them. You know, I've invested in certain things that completely just were gone the next day. And I get that. But don't sit there and throw out, you know, oh, we're here to protect investors when that's really not what you're focused on. That's not what you truly care about. So she just said, you know, there was people that truly believed in it and that, you know, that felt a certain way and that stood a certain way when it came to, you know, their investment in, you know, UST and Luna. But it's like, what happened to that was absolutely terrible. Now, if you look at the XRP community, it's like the suppression and you know, decimation within that community was done by people that were truly set out to protect us, that are funded by taxpayer dollars to protect the investors, to do right by the investors. But they're the ones doing it, which is absolutely crazy. So it's not just, you know, SEC, it's SEC and all the people that are involved. People are involved in the ETHgate scandal and people that are involved in the Ethereum free pass speech, which so-called has, you know, SEC representatives in it. That's the most sickening part about it. And that's happening within the United States. And we're throwing out all this information online. We have a class action lawsuit of probably by now over 68,000, you know, members. You have Jason Foster and Empower Oversight going after the SEC. I mean, you have, you know, a force of a decentralized community coming together that aren't truly being heard. We haven't even got a response from Gary Gensler in particular to the class action lawsuit alone. This is happening within the United States. It's absolutely crazy. They're affecting families' lives. They've affected my family's life. They completely changed the course of how the past, you know, two and a half years of our lives should have looked like. We worked our butt off to accumulate, you know, in particular in the one asset I'm talking about is XRP. We've accumulated, enough to be pretty much set for the rest of our lives in regards of, our comfort, what we invested, the amount we had, able to invest with a specific, return that we were expecting, which was very small compared to where we know this thing is going to go. But the whole point is like, you're so-called there to protect investors, but you've decimated people's lives. There's people that literally ruined, or not them, but their lives were ruined because of the actions of Chairman Clayton and the SEC and the ongoing Gary Gensler show of delay, redact, and, withhold information, not following the judge and the court rules. It's crazy. And I can go on and on about that because that it's lit a fire in me. But I try to remain level-headed and realize, that, we have things in motion. Thanks to Johnny Deaton for stepping up for the community and the class action lawsuit coming together as a community. You have Jason Foster and Empower Oversight and other, parties, Jeremy Hogan, James K. Filan, and, other members out there truly fighting the good fight. Digital asset investor, YouTubers, small YouTubers like me, and just people in the community just truly stepping up to fight the good fight. And I want to thank all of you for your hard work. Moving on. This from Watcher Guru says, just in, the Wall Street Journal just says crypto has a problem with insider trading. So I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody. I mean, this market is underregulated. It's new emerging technology. It's so small in regards of, capital within the space at 1.32 trillion. So if you have, a whale or whales that have a lot of money and, understand, or, they have a team behind them, an investing team, a technical analysis team, or whatever the case is, they can easily manipulate the charts and, easily, be a part of a board or a group of people or a group of whales that kind of work together in a cohorted way to, manipulate the markets to their benefit. I mean, that's just real. But then it's not just in our space. I mean, even in a regulated space, and I'm not sitting here throwing out accusation. I'm just going based on, the information that I've been seeing. But like, this is something that I saw last year, and it was talking about members of Congress that beat the SPY in 2021. And one of the ones that stand out to me a lot because it's this Nancy Pelosi stuff. So I saw her interview when she was pressed about, insider trading and, do they think, members of government and Congress should be able to invest in individual stocks? And she was just like, pretty much like, yeah, I mean, it's a, a right thing to do, obviously if you report. But the thing is, the way the reporting system is, it's kind of flawed in regards of, they can report, what is it, like months later or a month later. I don't know what the technicals are behind it, but it just seems like there was just a loophole that was placed and that they utilized. And, it is what it is. I mean, if you have all these members, making a certain salary off of taxpayer dollars, right? They make a certain amount of salary, but their net worth is worth, hundreds of millions. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. But we, the small people, the everyday investors, need to be protected by the SEC, and we can't speculate in certain assets, and we can't invest in startups because we're not accredited investors. But while these people in Congress or people in government, they can literally they're the ones making the rules or setting the laws or precedent for, other companies that are going to be affected by, their deliberations. And they know that information. So they tell their friends, brothers, sisters, husbands, whatever the case is, hey, make sure you throw, 10 million into this. And they end up becoming, 100 millionaires. It's absolutely crazy. And it's just a reality. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, quite honestly. I wanted to end on this right here. This is from Robert Kiyosaki. And, I'm not sitting here trying to press, this Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. I'm not trying to press any of his, books or none of that stuff. I think there was some good information from it. I read it. I know people have certain reservations against him. It is what it is. I think what he says here has some merit to it. It says, Rich Dad said, quote, bull markets make stupid investors look smart. Bear markets turn the stupid investors into losers and smart investors into winners. Markets are crashing. Time for smart investors to become very rich winners. Take care. So long story short, like I think there's a lot of truth to it because from the amount of time I've been investing, especially in this space in 2017, early 2018, and I've been following, people that were not very successful early on and are very successful now, and people that already had knowledge from the regular market and they came into this market and were highly successful in their investments. And one of the big ones that keep coming out is like, yeah, whenever you're in a bull market, you can pretty much throw, money at, anything and you'll pretty much make money. That doesn't make you a great investor. They were saying, when there's blood in the streets and there's decimation and turmoil and fear is all the way, into single digits, this is the time where people, make life-changing wealth and obtain financial freedom. If you have the ability to accumulate and invest in when everyone's just running away from hills thinking everything's going to zero, is where you truly make a difference in your financial situation. And I agree with that. It's like when markets are crashing, it's time for smart investors to become very rich. And that's the mindset that over the years I've been trying to mold myself into. And that goes to, your own investment strategy. And one of the big ones that I've learned that I think are highly valuable is making sure that you always have some capital ready to go. Yeah, I'd like to throw 100% of my money that I have available to invest into a project or into a certain amount of projects. But I've learned that at that point, you're pretty much hodling if you don't have any more money to put in. So it's like if you have, a certain cash reserves or, whether you stable up or not, when the markets do dump, then you can accumulate more. So I definitely, I like that he put this up, and I think there's some validity to it for sure. But with all that being said, I want you to make sure that, you stay strong out there and you be safe. Make sure you come to, our YouTube channel at Crypto is Key. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We're at like 123 right now. We're looking to continue to grow this thing. We're going to continue to, follow the Ripple versus SC stuff, show a lot of stuff of what's going on, updates within the crypto community in general. Follow us at Twitter at Crypto is Key 1, because pretty much everything that I've talked about on the channel outside of, articles and stuff is pretty much I'm going to be, talking about or retweeting and commenting on Twitter. So make sure you come and follow us there so you can kind of see what's going on. But with all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.